Thanks, Sam and Melanie. Safety is on the minds of college students across the country after a shooting at Michigan State University on Monday night that left 3 dead and 5 injured. The gunman was identified as Anthony McCrae, who died by suicide late Monday. Police reported earlier today that they may have determined a possible motive for the attack after locating a note in McCrae's pocket. Thanks, Hannah and Ethan. Students will definitely be able to enjoy Sleeping Giant this weekend, as it seems the Groundhog's 6 weeks of winter are finally coming to a close. See behind me, there's a sea of candidacy signs, and there's many contested races happening at the polls from all ends of the political spectrum. And KU students are gearing up for spring break. QNN's own Santina Mayoni talked to students about mid-semester burnout and their plans for the break. Last week, 2 Hampden freshmen got into a serious altercation, and it turned into every parent's nightmare. When one student pulled out a retractable knife, like this one, what is supposed to be a safe place for students turned into a crime scene. Thanks, Lane and Katie. I'm here in Hampden, where students will fill local community centers and nonprofits for the big event on Saturday, participating in a day full of community service. Thanks, you two. I'm here reporting from the Miller Memorial Library in Hampden, where these brick walls won't be around for long. Thanks, you two. I'm here reporting from the Miller Memorial Library in Hampden, where these brick walls won't be around for long. Hampden and nonprofit Rise Up for Arts are working to bring a public mural to town. The painting will feature Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and cover the Miller Memorial Library wall facing Dixwell Avenue, celebrating Hampden's diversity. And locals can't wait.
I really think it's very exciting.
The MLK 39 Racial Equity Mural Project is part of a statewide tour to paint themed murals across Connecticut. Artist Amita Roller loves working with new people in each town.
In the wheelchair, little children, older people, it doesn't matter. Anybody who has the time and can take 30 minutes, can take 2 hours.
Rise Up's founder, Matt Conway, says these projects are more than just pretty pictures.
We're bringing together local churches, local other nonprofits, just regular community members, all kind of sitting at the table now having discussion about race and equity and what it means and all of that.
And residents are included every step of the way, joining community paint days and sharing their design thoughts through surveys.
That's why every mural is different, because every community has a different way of how they want their mural to look.
Hampden Public Library Director Melissa Conham-Klein thinks that the library is the perfect spot for the mural.
This is great because this is what the library is about. Knowledge is power. And Martin Luther King Jr., the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. said that all the time.
Hampden will be the 16th town to participate in this tour, and the final mural will be shown at the town's Juneteenth celebration at Town Center Park. That's all for me. Back to you, Santino and Hannah, at the desk. Thanks, Lane and Katie. I'm here in Hampden, where students will fill local community centers and nonprofits for the big event on Saturday, participating in a day full of community service. In just a few days, this camp will be filled with nearly 300 Quinnipiac students.
This is our Super Bowl. This is our biggest day of the year.
It's the big event's 13th year at Quinnipiac, the largest day of community service on campus.
I think it's great for college students to get involved in the community, and especially doing community service to help beautify our community. It's character building. It's what I've always learned.
Of the locations is nearby Keefe Community Center Garden and Quinnipiac's own Albert Schweitzer Institute. ASI is home to the Pollinator Garden, a project started last year by Professor Lawson, where students will be weeding and planting.
Well, I love having students out in the garden because we can learn about the importance of pollinators to really start coming together, looking like a full garden.
The center of all the action will be Camp Cedar Crest in nearby Orange, which will see volunteers from within and outside the Quinnipiac community.
Moving some rocks, picking up some brush, some painting, really nice outdoorsy, get yourself dirty stuff.
Co-directors of the big event, Brian Ortiz and Rebecca Saganti, are the people behind it all, overseeing 53 sites.
How big Quinnipiac is in the community. I think it's very important for us to realize our place and give back when we can.
It kind of just builds a community that I've never experienced before, and I just really like being a part of it.
Now, unfortunately, the big event closed registration last week, but if you want to get in on all the fun and excitement, organizers expect next year to be even bigger and even better. That's all for me about Quinnipiac's biggest event of the year. Back to you guys at the desk. Students can enjoy fresh air outside and do not have to wear masks or follow any safety protocols for COVID-19 when outdoors. But inside, students have to wear masks over their nose and mouth. And some are not happy about it. To return to campus, students had to provide proof of vaccination or a valid exemption. The deadline to upload a scan of vaccine cards was August 1st. Paul Capuzzo, a junior economics and political science double major from New Jersey, supported the university's decision.
I think that every university should be doing this.
Paul is immunocompromised as a result of the rare disorder Guillain-Barré. As a result of his illness, he was not able to receive the vaccine until this past July, a full 7 months after shots were distributed for the first time outside of clinical trials. Paul admitted that the timing of the policy seemed coincidental, but was all the same necessary.
We see a rise in cases all over the country. We see a rise of cases in New Haven County, and we're not going to do anything about it. The answer is yes, put masks back on, even if it's a temporary solution.
Jamie Ullinger, director of anthropology at Quinnipiac, received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. As a scientist, Jamie believes that there are nuances to the situation.
I think people have a variety of perspectives and kind of histories that make these kinds of things complicated.
In an email sent out on September 7th, students were reminded by university staff to practice proper mask wearing indoors. Amy herself has been worried about COVID-19 variants spreading in the classroom.
I think now that we're in classrooms where people are a lot closer together, I'm kind of missing how we were a little more spread out.
Jamie felt that although people have their reasons to be for or against mask wearing and vaccinations, we all have a part to play.
I just wish we thought about others a little bit more.
Anya Grandalski, QNN News.
Hey, how are you?
It's election season, and incumbent Dave Velaber was one of many Cheshire locals running today.
I feel great. I feel hopeful.
I'm here live reporting outside of Cheshire High School, which is a hotspot for polling in Cheshire today. As you can see behind me, there's a sea of candidacy signs, and there's many contested races happening at the polls from all ends of the political spectrum. Cheshire is divided when it comes to politicians and local issues, and no one can seem to agree on why Cheshire is a multicolored town. Alexa McPadden says it's age and wealth.
We have a very large, like older community, and then also a lot of younger people here, and I think that spreads a lot of issues. And also there's just difference in the wealth of the people.
But David says it's a mentality.
I think Cheshire is a very open-minded town.
And others have simply no clue why.
Cheshire is, so Connecticut as a whole is a blue state, but I feel like I don't know why people are attracted to come here.
The town clerk is a Republican, as it's its majority of councilmen at large. But in state and presidential elections, Cheshire votes blue. There is one thing that Republican dad David and Democratic teen Alexa agree on. On Tuesday, voters were asked about referendum item 2, to approve phase 1 of a master plan for improvements to Bartlam Park.
It has been an icon of recreational activity in Cheshire for a long time.
David said the park's expansion would help keep Cheshire athletics thriving and also act as an official town green, something Alexa also hopes for.
The park funding is very important to kind of give the town a town center.
As votes were tallied and absentee ballots opened, the nearly $8 million park development hit a home run, getting approved by the 32% turnout of voters. Anya Grandalski for QNN News. Last week, 2 Hampden freshmen got into a serious altercation, and it turned into every parent's nightmare. When one student pulled out a retractable knife, like this one, what is supposed to be a safe place for students turned into a crime scene. On November 29th, a 13-year-old and 14-year-old student at Hampden High got into a violent altercation at the close of the school day at a nearby city bus stop. Video of the fight from a student's private social media shows the 14-year-old student getting stabbed. The student was then rushed to Yale New Haven Hospital, and the 13-year-old student was charged with assault in the 2nd degree. Town councilman and Hampden High graduate Abdul Osmanu says trauma from the pandemic, combined with high school development, has likely caused these incidents to occur.
So to think about all the tough, trying times that usually occur when you're a high school student, and which is pre-COVID for me. But to match that up with the amount of trauma and suffering that our students have actually had to face over the past year and a half and 2 years really puts it into perspective for me and gives me a better informed idea
Students are upset with the uptick in violence as this event follows just weeks after a 17-year-old student brought a loaded handgun into the school. The school was closed the following week on Monday and Tuesday to reassess after the stabbing occurrence, opening Wednesday with an increased police presence and metal detector wands at the entrance. Melissa Kaplan, a Board of Education member and Hampden High parent, is disturbed by the militarized response to the situation, as well as the lack of open dialogue with students.
And these are people that have the most intimate relationship with the school. This is their school, and they had no say in this process.
Police say the investigation is still ongoing. Melanie Reed, president of Quinnipiac's Criminal Justice Club, explained the circumstances under which these delinquent acts can occur.
Their day isn't filled up with sports or academics. They tend to turn to delinquent acts, which is unfortunate, but it goes to show a lot about informal social control, which is just anything like clubs, sports, schoolwork that would keep a kid out of crime. And I think a lot of that went away when COVID became a more serious thing.
Both students are scheduled to appear at the New Haven Superior Court for judicial matters on December 13th. Anya Grandolski for QNN News.